What's up, guys? This is Kyle from Wax Museum coming to you today with part 13 of my NBA 75th Anniversary Team Collection. So as you can see here, another week where the table is not as full as I would like it to be, but I am going to end things off with a pretty powerful punch here of Oscar Robertson, so I am excited about that. So let's go ahead and jump in. Very first guy, I've only got one card here, or at least only one card that I felt like was significant or represented his career, and that's a Paul Pierce rookie. And, I have to confess, maybe this is part of it. I never really liked Paul Pierce, so I don't think I appreciated him like I should, but, he was a 10-time All-Star, he was a champion, he was a Finals MVP, which the Finals MVP holds a lot more weight to me than some of the other stats that people could have. He did have a 5-year stretch from 2001 to 2007, where 5 season, I should say, where his scoring peaked. It dropped a little bit after that, but that's when the Celtics brought in KG and Ray Allen. So, that makes sense. He was willing to scale back a little bit in exchange for a ring, and you can't blame him for that. So, had a few other stops at the end of his career, but I think everyone pretty much remembers him in that Celtic green, which is why I've got this here. I do have a Nets patch. It's kind of sitting on my ComC inventory. I'm hoping to get a nice jumbo Celtics patch, so I'm being a little bit patient here, and once I do, then that Nets patch will be a thing of the past. I'll move that pretty easily, but anyway, that's all I've got here. It's just a chrome rookie of Paul Pierce. All right, next guy I've got, well, pretty much the same amount of cards for is Scottie Pippen. I know he's been in the news a little bit over the last year because he was trying to sell some books and I think sell some vodka too, but he said some strange things, and I know that changed people's perceptions of him a little bit. It shouldn't change what people think of him as a player, though. We got a 7-time All-Star, 6-time champion, and I wish we could see him in today's NBA because I think he would be an absolute force to be reckoned with. 6'8", with just ridiculous length. He was 10-time All-Defensive, and, the one thing that is just absolutely seared in my mind is when the Pacers took the Bulls to 7 games in 1998. And at one point, Phil Jackson put Scottie Pippen on Mark Jackson. And Jack he could barely bring the ball up the floor. So between Pippen and Harper and Jordan, that backcourt was just devastating defensively. And I know it's not necessary to compare every player to someone that plays today, but there are a lot of similarities between him and a healthy Kawhi Leonard, which I hope we get to see more of, by the way. So here's what I've got. And I don't even know if that dirt's on the card. This was not a very clean copy. I think both of these came in lots that I bought. Kind of a roughed up, not a great looking rookie card here. Off center, top to bottom, but left to right looks great, and I really prioritize left to right over anything else. And then this copy here, which someone had slabbed with GMA, it graded a 5. I figured if I get a nice one someday, then I'll just keep it in the slab, and that way people, they can do with it what they want. I'm not going to crack it. I'll let someone else make that decision. But 2 low-grade Scottie Pippen rookies, and not really all that expensive of a card, so kind of makes me laugh. I've been eyeing some jumbo patches for years now, and it's kind of hard to compete with the Bulls people. But looking back, I should have bought them years ago. Like everything else, should have bought them years ago. All right, speaking of looking back, we're going to go way further back than either of these 2 decades here to talk about Willis Reed. And by this point, we've seen 3 or 4 70s Knicks players. That should tell you just how big of a deal this team was. I don't think you're going to catch me cheering for the Knicks at any point, but I'd love to see them relevant again because the NBA is just a lot more fun when the Garden is buzzing. And that Garden buzz is one of the things we remember most about Willis Reed. You guys know what I'm talking about. Game 7 against the Lakers in the 1970 finals, which I earlier called the Walt Frazier game because that's more what it is to me, but everyone knows it as the Willis Reed game, and that's fine. I'm not trying to take that moment away from him. And he was really so much more than that moment. Although 1970 in general was a big year for him. He won MVP, he won All-Star MVP, and Finals MVP. So he's the first player to ever do all of that in one year. And then he won a second Finals MVP in 73 when he secured his second title. I hesitate to rely on box scores and career stats. a ton when talking about a player, but this is an instance where you can see that there is a sharp decline where the injuries took place. And that would be in the 71-72 season. His scoring dropped by 6 points, and he registered 6 less rebounds per game as well. A couple years later, he was unfortunately forced to retire because of those same injuries. So it's a shame we only got 10 years out of him, or 10 good years, but that was all his body could muster. On the bright side, though, he averaged 20 and 14 on the world's biggest stage as far as basketball goes. And in a world of advanced metrics, I don't know how you quantify that exactly, but I think it should stand for something. So Willis Reed should, in fact, be celebrated today. I don't have a lot of them. They don't have a lot of memorabilia cards for him, although they do have some. Upper Deck has some, but I've got this 1969 Topps rookie. I need to get an upgrade here. There's some roughed up corners on the bottom, but it presents pretty well otherwise. And then, of course, I've got this 72 Topps, creased in the corner, but also presents well, a little bit off center, but that's with this vintage stuff. It is what it is. I'll take it. All right, next up, a guy I watched, a guy I should have a lot more of, and unfortunately I don't, and that's David Robertson. You know what? I couldn't even find my Hoops rookie, which is one of the most iconic basketball cards of all time because it really set the stage for the junk wax era and for the interest in Shaq and the, Jordan's cards emerging. I don't have it, or at least I can't find it. I got one somewhere, but anyway, this is a guy that was great in his own right. He had a lot of great individual accomplishments at the start of his career. He had an MVP, a scoring title. He was the block champ. And then his team had a lot of success at times too, mainly in his twilight years when him and Tim Duncan formed the Twin Towers. That's when he won his 2 rings, but he was one of the most dominant forces in an era that was really chock full of big men. He was great on both sides of the ball. Can't say anything bad about this guy. And, unfortunately, though, as far as cards go, this is all I got. And this isn't even a PC card, to be honest. This is something I just pulled out of my show inventory because I thought it was cool, and I know I've showed it off recently, but this is a finest no protector refractor, which those are cool because they refract on the back as well. That's something that is certainly very unique. All right, save the best for last today, and that's Oscar Robertson. Another one of my favorite players from the past. We probably heard a little more about Oscar in these last few years than we normally would. Number one, because of Russell Westbrook passing his triple-double record, and then 2, because the Bucks won another title. But Oscar only played his last 4 seasons in Milwaukee. He put up even bigger numbers in Cincinnati. And for the first 8 seasons of his career, he basically averaged 30 and 10. And can you imagine a rookie coming into the league today and averaging 30 points per game? Now, that Royals team wasn't very good originally, I should say. They missed the playoffs in his first season, but then they made it to 6 straight seasons in the playoffs after that. And he eventually won a ring when he joined Kareem in Milwaukee in 1970. So he's got the hardware, and he's got the stats to back it up. On top of all that, he kind of set the standard as the first real big guard at 6'5". Up until then, it was primarily smaller guys. And then finally, he's from Indianapolis. I have to mention that. That resonates with me a little bit. Add all of that stuff up, and you get a snapshot of why I've collected some of his stuff over time, or at least what I could. So here's what I got. I've got this PSA 4 rookie that I've traded for, which looks great for a 4. See, there's just a little crease there, and you know what? In this case, I'm happy for that. That little crease and that little wear made an otherwise great-looking card. Very affordable for me. I was able to trade into it, trade some LeBron stuff that I really wasn't into, but 30 or 50 bucks. So I was just elated to be able to grab this one. So I've got that. This one's a little more rare. I want to say this is from 62 or 63. This is from Kahn's Hot Dogs, from Kahn's Wieners. It was a regional thing in the Cincinnati area. They did cards for the Reds. They did cards for the Royals when they were there. They did cards for some of the other regional guys like Jerry West that were from the area, even though he played with the Lakers. And you can see, these came in packs of hot dogs. You can see, I imagine these are hot dog stains here, or wiener stains, I guess you could say. But yeah, you don't see too many of those out there. And I grabbed this for like $25 at one point. It would probably gone up like everything else, but I'm glad I went out, and I'm glad I found that one and grabbed it. I mean, it's kind of gross looking, but that probably contributed to me owning it. So nothing wrong with that. All right, some more of his Topps run, which I didn't grab all of them. I think I have some of the other ones I didn't grab, like the 71 and the 73. But here's a 69, 69 Topps. Got a 1970 Topps. I should have grabbed the 71. I don't know why I didn't. Got a 72 Topps that he signed for me through the mail. Big, bold Sharpie. He has two versions of his signature. So you'll notice on his Panini cards, he signs his full name. And then there's some sets where he signed Big O, and then through the mail, he'll sign Big O. That's kind of his free signature. And the other one, if you do like a sit-down signing, he'll sign his full name. And then here's a patch that I definitely paid up for it. Not a lot of Oscar patches out there. All of them are upper deck, but got this at a card show here in Florida. A patch numbered out of SP Authentic. I think it's 2005, 2006. Yep. Numbered 19 of 25. So real nice looking multicolor pieces. Small patch, but a nice patch. And I like these jerseys that have that old look to them, because it looks like that was this was white at some point, and it's definitely aged a little bit, and I like when that material ages. All right, so there you have it. Let me know what you think. Go ahead and like or comment. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Remember, there are new episodes of the audio podcast every Thursday, and as always, I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.